Hello.
Hi. All right, Nikolay. We don't have your camera. I don't know if we lost it during the countdown.
Tell me one.
Welcome everyone to what are we calling this, Kathryn? What was the
React
decided
101.
upon? React. You're like, it's right above your head, Alyssa.
We're keeping it simple. We're not getting too confusing. Doing what it says on the tin. React 101.
That's so British of you. So welcome everybody. This is so exciting. I want to see if I need to pull up chat. I'm just really, really pumped. I had this idea. Nikolay and I were talking about how he wanted to learn React. And I was like, that's a real shame because I only know Angular. And I was like, but I know someone. I know a girl. And so that's where I coerced Kathryn and Nikolay to come on and do this. It's going to be a 3-day series, 1 hour each of us diving into React. Hey, Salt. Good to see you. Hi. I think we're just streaming to Twitch. Yes, we're just streaming to Twitch. So we don't have to worry about those crazy YouTubers. I'm kidding. We love you, YouTube. But yeah, Kathryn, take it away. I don't know if we should do introductions of like who we are in case, because we have so many different streams on our channel. So it might be hard to
let's start with like quick intros. And I can go first. I'm Kathryn. I am the Kendo React dev advocate here at Progress. I'm also just generally a front-end engineer, UI designer, all-around nerd. So I am hyped. I've kind of, as the first like kind of application level JavaScript that I learned was React. And then I kind of switched and lived in Angular for a little bit, and now I'm back. So I am excited to share some React goodness.
I'm still on my PC, so I'm sorry if I like freeze or do anything weird. I love you all. So that was what that look was oh God, did I just hit some hotkey and I lose everyone? Okay, I'm here. Hi. So hey, Rocket Tavrel, good to see you guys.
Hey.
Alyssa Nicoll here. I am, as I mentioned earlier, on the Angular side of life, but excited to learn some React over the next couple of days with these two crazy kids. And then below we have. You want to do your introduction, Nico?
Yeah, sure. I'm a technical support engineer here at Progress. I'm responsible for Kendo UI for jQuery, and I'm very excited to learn React. I don't have much experience with it, so this would be awesome.
I've seen, like, I've pair coded with Nikolay before, and I've seen he's got some mad skills with jQuery. So I feel like that's going to transfer perfectly. Just okay, maybe jQuery is nothing like React. I don't know, Kathryn. You can totally speak to that.
No, I mean, I think in general, I mean, if you know JavaScript, you can learn any of these like libraries and frameworks. Like, it's all just a question of like which tool best fits the problem that you're solving. And sometimes it'll be Angular, and sometimes it'll be React, sometimes it'll be something else entirely. But if you've got JavaScript knowledge, then you can totally do it.
I'm really excited to see, because I even last week was talking to one of our devs in Boston, and he was, he's over multiple different products and frameworks, but he was just saying, behind the scenes, how he really still feels like React is easier. And I was like, I don't see it. I don't know. But like all I've ever known is Angular. So I'm really excited to see how easy this framework supposedly is, because that's all I hear from everyone. And it's just so simple to pick up on. I'm like, really? Is it?
I think the learning curve is a little bit smaller, but it's kind of a trade-off. It's actually one of the first things that I wanted to kind of touch on is that React is not a framework. React is technically a library. So that comes with some of those like trade-offs. Like with Angular, there's a little bit more of a learning curve because there's just more like to it. Hold on. Some of these comments.
Oh, sorry. Which one did you put salts up?
Yeah, JavaScript is hard. JavaScript is hard. Just period. That's why I was kind of like, if you've got JavaScript, you can handle the rest. Like,
hey, Napalm. Napalm's in the chat. He's saying mixing concerns is what always threw me through a loop. Are we talking about like mixing concerns in React? Is that, I'm assuming is what you're going for? Maybe, or for me, I know that at least I'm really excited to like get into it, because like I think React is all one file, right? Like, so it's all maybe that's the mixing concerns. Oh, okay,
yeah.
I see.
HTML and JavaScript. And some opinions already. Separation of concerns is the way to go. There's definitely some truth there. I am lazy, so I like everything in one place. But we will get to that.
Yeah, Nikolay, whenever I first started talking to you, I remember you had mentioned an interest in React. Was it because you had like heard all the hype, or like what was your interest in React about?
Yeah, basically it was because of the hype. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
we know Facebook developed this, so I think it's gonna stay. It's not gonna end in near future. So it's something that it's worth invest your time, right?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Sorry, chat's trying to like start a fight. I see
chat is like popping off. Yeah. We've been live for 2 minutes, I think, which is best React or Angular.
I think Brad Green said it best years ago. He was like, I don't make any money whether you use one or the other. Like, he's like, so pick which one works best for you and your team. And like, that's definitely my stance, because, you know, I mean, we support both here.
We got some Vue fanboys in the chat.
Oh my God, that's funny. So we should actually do you know Vue? Like, have either of you worked with Vue? Because I haven't even poked at it. Like, I don't even know what the API looks like.
We're going to need to arm twist someone else into teaching us Vue 101.
Yeah. Saul, it sounds like you're coming on to do some Vue 101s later. So, yeah, you volunteered. Oh, yeah. Preact and, I don't know, Laravel. I've like barely heard of that one. I love it. Oh, yeah. Elm. Oh my gosh. So with my my .NET streams, there's a lot of functional programming for the win. So anytime Elm comes up, it seems to trigger chat as well. So I love it. I love
this pun. I'm going to give props to this pun. Reactors. I'll see myself out.
Oh, you guys, I love you all so much. Yeah, I know. Salt is saying, and this is like my favorite saying of his, that he can't JavaScript himself out of a paper bag, which I have seen Nikolay actually do. He was trapped. He used JavaScript. He got untrapped. And I was like, but even though you say this, you have still signed yourself up for a Vue episode. Thanks. Oh, well, cool. So tell me how you're going to take us on this journey and not scare us to death. That's my concern. Yeah.
So I really, in this session, I really want to focus on just getting a really basic React app up and going on your machines. We're going to use Create React App, which makes it like super easy, super plug and play. And then we're just going to take a look at how React hooks into the DOM and kind of how to make some basic changes, the structure of an application, some of that, like where does your JavaScript go? Where does your HTML go? Where does your CSS go? How does that all hook together? And then we will take it from there. But today is just about the basics.
I'm so excited. Also, I feel like you should tell me like what command to run real quick, just so I can see all of the errors that are about to pop up on this machine.
No,
maybe that's not a thing. I don't know.
So we'll walk through each one. I'm not going to be like install it. It's not like, you know, the Bake Off technical when they get that sheet and it's just like make a dough.
Did you just reference The Greatest Show on Earth? Oh my God, Nikolay, have you watched The Great British? What is it? It's called The Great British Baking Show. Everyone calls it the Bake Off, but it's not actually the name.
So here it is a US UK difference because Bake Off was already trademarked over here at Pillsbury. So it's Bake Off in the UK, but over here in the US.
That's why. Oh,
it has to be the Great British Baking Show.
I was like, because anytime they talk about it, it's the Bake Off. I see.
Yeah,
You have you've opened my eyes. Sorry, Nikolay, did we lose you? Are you not into the Bake Off? Because if you're not, we need to. No, I'm kidding.
That's a whole another stream. I'm obsessed. I love the Bake Off. I could talk about that for an hour, but that's not why we're here.
Oh, we're getting commands in chat. Is that what is this NPX bit? What we're about?
That is actually what you're going to start with. So they're correct. So I don't know which one of you wants to share your screen first, but probably someone should share their screen. I'd like for one of you guys to drive rather than me.
I love it. I love it. Nikolay, how are you feeling about that? Also, you're muted, so I'm missing your laughter. I can see it. I can't hear it. I know. I didn't know if you.
Sorry. I can share if you want.
Yes, and then I'm gonna follow along, and we can like share mine randomly. But I'm worried that I'm gonna have like a lot of bugs. So we'll see. We'll see. Okay, so you should see a share button, I think, and then we can add once your screen sharing. Action gives Kathryn a Paul Hollywood handshake.
Well, that's it. I can quit now. This is the highlight of my career. It's all going to be a gentle downward slope from now on.
That show brings me so much peace. Like, it's just so...
It's so nice.
And I can like rewatch episodes like no other. It drives my husband crazy. He's like, we've seen this season 3 times. I'm like, but...
Does not matter.
Yeah.
It's just about the vibes. What actually happens on the show is almost inconsequential.
Yeah, thank you. Exactly. Like that music comes on and you're just like, okay, I can survive now.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to try this NPX command, but I'm pretty positive things are going to explode while Nikolay shares his screen.
So what you want is that NPX create React app and then the title of your application. Whatever you want to call it. My app or Alyssa's cool app. Or
I should probably be in a repo then, like in a place where I want this. That makes sense.
You will want to be in a folder where you will want that to create. So what is the best way for me to share chats with you two? Just
to share, what was the question? Share chats?
Share commands.
So you
can we private chat those to you?
Yeah, so we can't copy paste from the main chat, like where these people are having an amazing conversation. But if you put it in private chat, we can copy paste from there. So yeah, if you want to.
I'll throw stuff in there then just for ease of.
Perfect. And then I see Nikolay's screen. I don't know if you want to share it yet.
Do you see my screen or you're not able to?
I do. I got it. We've got a little bit of like an endless loop happening right now. So
see.
Awesome.
A lot of things are happening here. Okay. So I just opened the terminal in a random folder. So what was it? NPX? Yep.
Now you'll run that NPX create React app. And then whatever you want to call your application, you can just call it, the one in the chat that I shared with you is just my app. That's the example they use in create React app. So.
Okay.
So I need to install NPX apparently. Globally. We're going to try that. Oh, NPM is not recognized. We're in trouble. One second. You keep going with your normal machines, and I'm going to Google this.
Should have used the Mac.
No, I know, because it's going to be like an instant. I know I already have NPX on there, so. So far, I have only done .NET-y things on this machine. So it's like, you want me to use NPM? What is this?
Yeah. I mean, you can use Yarn if you wanted.
Feel saying I use Wuzzle.
Wuzzle.
What do you call that? Ask it, Salt. Ask your legit questions.
I like the preface of legit question and not like I'm going to start a flame
versus
war.
all the other questions. Yeah. Okay. Did his work? I'm trying to see installing. Oh, it is working.
Yeah, it takes a minute to like chug through it because it is setting up everything.
You guys are so lucky. Your machines know what NPM is.
You know, it's like. The suspense is killing me on this legit question.
I know, right? Wait, was that at the end of it?
Okay. So, building on the web for 25 years, tried to catch up on the JavaScript bandwagon, trying relentlessly to learn JavaScript, done everything. Your honest opinion, what's the best way for it to click and learn? Focuses on everything on the front end but JavaScript. I feel you. This was me. I was in the same position because I was very much starting off focused on what they call it. Now we kind of talk about that like front of the front end, back of the front end situation. And actually, Brad Frost has some really good writing on this because he was also in that kind of situation where all of a sudden there's all this stuff that's front end, but it's so much more complex than the front end that used to exist, you know, than the way when it was just like HTML and CSS and a little bit of JavaScript to make things move. Mm-hmm. The best way, I'm trying to think. But there was a JavaScript book that I read that was really fantastic. And I'm trying to remember what it was. Oh my gosh. Maybe someone else can help me. It's all the contents of it are entirely online. It's like essential JavaScript or.
Wait, the JavaScript, the hard parts, or what was it?
No,
not that one.
No, I do know that one, but I can't. Oh man, Eloquent JavaScript. Thank you.
Do you already have it, Salt?
That is it. I found Eloquent JavaScript to be a really good entry point. I found it really readable. I found the like practice stuff to be really helpful. So in terms of just like mastering JavaScript, not talking about frameworks, whatever.
I love that
to be helpful.
I'm gonna get that because I'm realizing like how much I depended on Angular, like because I'm doing .NET right now, and a lot of times chat will be like, "Yeah, but how would you do that in JavaScript?" And I'm like, "Oh God, raw JavaScript? I don't know."
It's been so long, honestly. I probably couldn't pull some of that. Front end is the hardest thing ever. Front end is really complex and it's moving really fast. So. Yeah,
so have you ever considered going to C#? Okay, hot take. I kid.
Our official advice is just quit.
Our official advice for you is JavaScript isn't for everybody. No, I'm kidding. It's horrible. It's still like I'm gonna try Eloquent JavaScript. I loved
it. It helped me a bunch. But I think the real truth of it is just like you just gotta struggle. You just gotta make stuff. You just gotta keep building stuff. And it's not, sometimes just reading books is not enough to make it click. You just gotta break things and make things and try and then see what happens.
Is this a movie reference that I'm not getting?
No.
JavaScript is the final language. Oh, we have a request for you to bump up the font, Nikolay, whenever you share again.
Yeah.
If you can, what is it, Command Plus? I'm even forgetting my old hotkeys that I used to know so well. The final boss. The final language. Yeah, video game. Okay, I'm with you now. I thought maybe it was like a Matrix reference. I don't know. That seems really hot.
It's a Final Destination thing. This is what kills you. It's JavaScript.
But honestly, like comparing it to things like I'm having so much fun learning C# right now, but I still love the way that JavaScript works inherently. and it feels right to me. And so I don't know, at least in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I made the right choice as a web dev.
JavaScript, both I feel like one of the like perks and one of the drawbacks of JavaScript is that it's incredibly flexible. And like gets used everywhere for everything. And if you want to do it, you can probably do it in JavaScript. And that comes with some definite downsides. But I do think if you're looking for something that will cover as many bases as possible, JavaScript is a great place to start.
Napalm is cracking me up. Skynet will for sure be written in JavaScript. Yeah, I can see that. All right, we'll take that.
I mean,
yeah.
That's Facebook is written in React, so it's a good start. Sorry, Meta.
Yeah, Zach, he was like yelling at me like this weekend from the other room. He's like, "Did you know it's not called Facebook anymore?" I'm like, "What?"
To be fair, it is called Facebook, and the parent company is called Meta. It's
right.
Like
He was like, "The parent
scenario.
company." Oh, okay, what'd they choose? And he goes, Meta. And I was like, they did not. He goes, yeah, they went there.
It sounds like a joke.
I was like, okay, all right. I mean, I guess. I mean, I would have loved to be like a fly on the wall for the people who were like that team that was like throwing out first ideas for the new name, like just like what those ideas were.
Yeah. Because inevitably there was a conversation where someone said meta and someone else said, no, that's too meta. And then they
oh my god.
All right. Okay. We've actually got Create React App up and going. Thank you for sharing your screen, Nikolay. Could you bump up your font size just a smidge?
Sure.
I think just
how do I do that?
I think Command Plus will do that, although I'm not 100% sure in VS Code. There.
Is it better?
Perfect. That looks much better.
Right.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
All right. So taking a look, this is...
Sorry. Totally underrated things now. I feel you, Ivana. That's, yeah.
It's really true. So when you install Create React App, this is kind of the structure that you get. And there's two main folders here, one called public and one called source. Public is going to have your like basic, your actual HTML file, right? Like, go ahead and open that if you will. So you can see this is all your like meta information, your favicons and like, website stuff. Old school normal website stuff. But the part that's important to us-ish, and that is what React is going to hook into. So if you want to go ahead and open that source folder or expand that source folder as well, this is where all your React stuff is going to live. So go ahead and open the index.js file in here. Yep, and you can see here it's doing that document get element by ID, and then all of that, the React strict mode, and then the app. That is where we are inserting their React application. So this mostly we won't touch. It's doing what it needs to do. Create React App handled it for us. Thank you, Create React App. If you jump over into app.js, up just a little bit, like one more.
Oh, okay.
There it is. Nailed it. This is the first bit of like actual React that we're looking at. So this is the component they've created. Actually, do we have this? Can you run this? Actually, can you open up your terminal and do an npm start so that we can check it out in the browser?
What is the command?
npm start. Oh,
Hi, Ed. Hi. And Nikolay, if you feel like, you're struggling, I can't find my system properties. So that's where I'm at. This Stack Overflow is like, find your system properties so you can update your user variable. And I'm like,
you're still trying to install NPM?
Yeah.
Does anyone know how to do? I have not used Windows in actual decades.
I'm getting some counseling from Turtle over here. So should have used. Yeah, I don't know.
Someone genuinely tell me what this is.
Fuel, you need to tell us what that is. And I can use it. I just don't know much about it. Fuel. So link. Yeah, send us a link. All right, Nikolay, did you get it running? Is it?
Yeah.
Is that what it?
So this is
it. Yeah.
This is the app that Create React App has. This is the demo. So when we're looking at app.js, we're looking at the component that is creating this. So if you want to hop back over to your code, we will take a look.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Awesome. So yeah, the way React works, it's kind of a component-based structure. So you're going to create components and you can put components in other components. You can link components with components. Angular works the same way. It's that same kind of very modular structure. And so here we're looking at app, which is the only component we have so far. And you'll note there are imports at the top of the page and exports at the bottom of the page. And that's how we share things throughout our application. So imports can be stuff from within your app, other components you've created, CSS files, images, data, like JSON files, or it can be stuff from external libraries. So if we're using, if we have a dependency, we're importing here as well. And exporting is taking stuff that we've written in this component and sharing it so that other stuff can reference it. If we don't export it, nothing else can get to it. I'm still dying that we don't know what WSL is.
I have a feeling it's like they're all punking us, Like it's,
yeah. Yeah, they're like, oh, have you tried D's?
Yep, that's where we're going with it. This is Ed's advice for getting NPM on my window.
That is, yeah.
Okay. Cool. So remember when I was like, hey, Kathryn, can you do React on a Windows? And you were like, yeah, I'm pretty sure you can do it everywhere. I'm sure it's possible, but it's
on the internet.
I don't have 5 candles, so.
You just go to npm.com and download.
I think I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna use Stack Blitz.
Sure.
But no, I could. I was getting. What Stack Overflow is telling me is that I need to update something in my user path for my Windows. And that's getting me into this black box of system properties that I am not going to dig myself out of. You can do React in Windows without the candles or even a sacrifice. Shut up.
Does your time count as a
sacrifice? If there's not a goat sacrifice, are we even programming?
No.
Okay, so there's a lot of interesting bits in this file. For instance, so the source, that's the logo binding to the logo, right? On image in line 8.
So
and then
imported that logo at the top with one of our import statements. And then anytime we want to, we can add that stuff into our components. And we can do that with, pretty much anything that you need, any resource you need to use in the file. You can import and then call as needed. There are a couple different ways to import and export things. It's the next thing I want to kind of talk about. you can export things by default, which just means that, so this example has things that are exported by default. And that's what you want to do when there's really only one thing in your file that you need to export. So what that does is just says when you import it, it just says like, go to this page, just grab whatever it's exporting. Whatever the thing it's exporting is, I'm sure that's what we need. But if you need to export multiple things, you need to do it named. So the way that works is you would get rid of the default and then here, actually, yeah, let's do it. In your export statement, can you delete the word default? And then put app in curly braces. Perfect. And then let's hop back into our index.js file where we are importing app. Right. And then see right now, it's not even braces, it's importing it default. And if we look in the browser, we'll see that it's broken right now. And to fix that, we need to add curly braces around app here as well. And that tells us it looks specifically for something exported from the file /app. Looking for something specifically called app, not just whatever's being exported. You'll see that a lot with if you're importing from like dependencies, especially you'll see a lot of the named imports. Whereas like if you are importing and exporting within your own components, you can probably get away with default more often. It's really just a case by case, but it's something to be aware of because if you try to just import something that is named and not have it in curly braces, it will not work. I feel like 90% of the time when something's broken, I've forgotten to do something stupid like that. So worth calling out. Let's see what's happening over here in the chat. Oh, TypeScript in React feels challenging. Worth it. Yes, I would say generally we're not going to do it here because we're just focusing on React basics. But yeah, in general, I think TypeScript is a good thing to have. Who let the dogs out? Me. That's my dog. He's losing his mind. I'm not sure why. I wasn't sure if y'all could hear him.
He knows you're streaming. That's why.
He can tell. Either us or a neighbor's neighbor might be getting a package. So
yeah, they definitely want to show that puppy at some point.
I see he's downstairs and preoccupied with a truck, a squirrel, a bus, somebody on a bike, unknown.
A really late trick-or-treater. I mean, who knows? Who knows what's at your door?
Yeah, he's a React stamp. I will absolutely show him at some point. If it didn't involve me getting up and dragging him upstairs now, I would show him. But
Ed and I are having a side chat, and he sent me the link that you sent me to install Node, which is what Kathryn suggested, and I was like, oh, this is not what Stacklet said. They had like this long list of voodoo to-dos, and so I'm installing it now. But Ed was like, how did you get away with like having like Visual Studio like installed without Node? And I'm like, oh, apparently it's not a
yeah.
So, but I will one day be on your level, Nicolay.
All right, I want to bring us back to some React, although I'm happy to talk about my dog, so that too. But so in general, in this like create React app example, everything is just kind of like loose right now in that source folder. But if you're going to actually build a complex application, you'd want to organize some of that because source is where your whole app is going to live. In general, I recommend creating a couple of subfolders in there. I like to have one called app and one called styles. You don't have to do this. I'm just kind of like talking through structure right now. So the styles folder is where I like to put like high level theming styles. So like if, let's say, you're using Kendo React and you wanted to use one of our themes or have some custom theming, I would put that in the styles folder, whereas app is a folder that you can then put as many components in as you want. And I like to put each component in a folder. Sorry, I keep getting distracted by chat. I'm not very good at this yet.
Yeah, especially our chat. Like, our chat's the best on Code It Live. Really, I don't know why, but they're just like, it doesn't matter what the stream is. They're just the best. So it's them.
I will be like talking and I'll be like, catch something and it's gone. Whatever was happening in my head is just gone.
Oh man, there's so many good questions. Somebody earlier asked about creating a nested component, which is something I would really love to do. Yes. And then
we are gonna do that eventually.
Oh yeah, like 3 others. And then someone just now said, can you show a custom component for us to see JSX and state management or another episode?
Yeah. So we are going to talk about questions. We are going to talk to them about JSX today, state management. We're going to tackle, I think, episode 3, our final one, or maybe it's tomorrow. I have to look at, what did I say? Oh no, tomorrow's state management. Come back tomorrow. Oh man, yeah. Hooks, also a big thing. We'll talk later.
Do you love them, Kathryn? Can we just get like an emoji for your feelings in general? Okay, cool. Thanks.
I like hooks. Yeah. What was a hook and why was everyone so excited? Come back tomorrow. I hate to be that guy, but like it's one of those things. I also want to make sure that Nicola and Alyssa are learning, and we need to start from the ground and work our way up. And to jump into state management right now is a little bit of a leap. So I want to make sure we're getting there. But talking about JSX, that we can do because we are looking at JSX right now. JSX is just JavaScript XML. That's what it stands for, and it's all the stuff that's here inside your return. So the nice thing, or maybe not so nice thing about React, based on some of the JavaScript and your HTML, just all in one place. There's not this like strict separation templates and stuff that Angular does. So, oops. I meant to share this one, but you guys moved too fast. A bold statement. Okay. I love puns. Keep it up. But yeah, you can put JavaScript directly into your HTML, into your JSX, by using those curly braces. And so,
do you want to see like the most exciting thing ever?
Please, yeah.
Oh, it's so exciting.
Did you get it working?
Oh my god. Well, I mean, I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far. I installed it. Okay, I installed it. Yeah.
You did. I'm so proud of you.
I had to share the good news. Ed and was it Fuel? I think are wizards, and Kathryn, because all you have to do is install. So I swear, Stack Overflow was like telling me there's like 12 things you need to do, and I was like, I can't. Okay, thanks guys, you're the best. I'm gonna actually share that link in case any of you are on Windows and you're like, I want to do this, and I want to be a rebel and use the command prompt. Because I know other people are saying that we can use maybe Visual Studio to like generate it for us or something. So, but awesome. Well, I'm so excited. So yes, so JSX is what you're writing in, like it's the
So it's
language.
It's the it's the HTML. It's React's version of HTML, basically, that allows you to open some curly braces and write some JavaScript whenever you feel like it, because you're a rebel. So you can do that in terms of like if you've defined a variable, you can call it and just insert it directly into your HTML with the curly braces. You can use your curly braces to call a function that you've defined elsewhere. You can open your curly braces and just write JavaScript. Or you can do like conditional rendering. And so we're going to do some of that right now. So when you are writing JavaScript that you don't want immediately in your like rendered stuff. Anything in that return statement is what's going to actually get rendered and show up on the page.
There's so many like it's like this. It's like that. Like I love it's like React's version of Blazor's razor. It's like VB with XML literals.
I don't code in any of those languages, so I'm glad. I'm glad you guys know. I'll take your word for it. Oh man. But yeah, so Nikolay, if you want to go ahead and in between the function line and the return line, let's write some JavaScript. Let's define a variable. Like, so let's do, let's just set, let's make a variable called name and let's give it your name. So like, yep, let name equal Nikolay. Let's throw that in quotes so it's a string. Cool. And now if we want to add that into our JSX, so let's say we can add it to that p tag so that you're getting a direct command. Nikolay, edit code. You can just write in those p tags.
Right here.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Inside between where the copy is right now. Yep, just open braces and then call name. Just name right there. And then when you flip back over to your browser, you should see your name there.
Yeah, it's there.
Awesome. Yeah.
That was nice. Okay.
The chat is like managed chaos. I'm glad you think it's managed. What else? What does this represent in a JSX component? What does this mean in JavaScript at all?
That's a good one.
Two fantastic questions, one that answers the other. Yeah, it really depends. This is kind of gets into that, like, there are different ways to create components in React if you're in a class versus in a function. And in a class, you will use this more often to reach the variables that you've defined. And again, we're like jumping ahead. You used to have to use classes in order to use state, but now with hooks, you can use state in functions. And so writing classes is no longer required. It's kind of a matter of opinion now, whether you like to do it, whether you don't like to do it. So we're not going to talk about it right now because you don't have to do it to write React. And right now we are 101 level. So this escalated this. But yeah, it depends. True. It's this because it's this, that, or the other thing. Oh man, I'm glad everyone else hates this. So not this, but this. But yeah, so anytime, jumping back in, anytime you want to put JavaScript directly into your JSX curly braces, that's the primary takeaway. And we could do that if we wanted to define a function that returned something specific. We could do that. So like trying to think of a function that would quickly return something that we could write. Let
me think. Like math, or just like,
yeah, we could do like a math.random. Good call.
It's getting spicy with the random.
So yeah, you could replace name with math.random, and that would work. And you'd note, actually, that's a good example because that will kind of let us talk a little bit about component rendering. So basically, anytime a component is re-rendered, all of those functions will kind of rerun. And that'll happen in kind of two main situations, like either a hard refresh, of course, will re-render components, or once we have other like components in state, components will update when their state is changed. But that's important to remember when you've got functions that are running every time on component re-render. So like math.random, obviously every time we refresh the page, we'd get a different number because the whole component re-rendering every time, rerunning the function, new number. Let's talk a little bit about conditional rendering, because I think that's when it's a really common use case. And it's really easy to do it in line with your JSX. So I think pretty much every UI I've ever written, there's a situation where you need to check something and like based on whether it's true or false or whatever, show other content. So
is this where like my missing ng if is?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I messaged Kathryn on Slack the other day. I was like, does React have ng if?
No.
Okay, I'm moving along now.
Yeah, no, we do. We just know we don't have ng anything. So Nikolay.
Yes.
Somewhere, let's find maybe like right underneath this p tag. Let's add some conditional code. So go ahead and open your braces. Do some curly braces here, and let's use the name variable. So let's check and see if name is equal to Nikolay. So you'll write name, and then your equals, your triple equals sign. Yep. And then after that, you'll add 2 ampersands. So, and.
Okay. I'm trying to find it.
Awesome. And then give us a couple like returns there so we have some space, because we're going to render the stuff that we want to render based on this conditional goes within the curly brackets as well. So like go ahead and hit enter a couple of times so we have some room for activities. And then thank you. And let's make a p tag in here that says like welcome Nikolay.
Just me.
Perfect. So now when we run this over in your browser, it should have a new p tag or have a new line that says welcome. Because what it's doing, it hits that line in the JSX, evaluates, and then will show or not show based on whether that's true or not. So if you were to change your name variable to Kathryn, obviously no longer be accurate. Great. All of that there, no need for the ng if nonsense. So much work.
Wait, go back. I know it's so hard to switch between the code, but go back to the code. I want to see it again. Because I mean, I feel like ngif's pretty easy, but I like my ngif.
Right there, right in the JSX, like no hoops, no nothing.
Hoops.
Kludge is a good word.
Is it a word? Is really my concern at this point.
Oh, it's totally a word.
Like that is in the dictionary. All right, Googling. Hang on.
Yeah,
cool.
An ill-assorted collection of parts assembled to fulfill a particular purpose. Is what.
You shut your dirty mouth, Ed.
Kludge for sure.
Listen, I love my directives, and I will stand by them for life. Okay, so let me see. I think it's the wrapping bits and the grossness of it all that gets to me. Because my nice
really
little
feel.
kludgy directive that's like an attribute essentially on the tag, to me, like versus like you just got this big wrapper and that's how you do it and that's it. That's how you do it. Like it's just so. Hi, my name is JavaScript and I'm in your HTML. You know, like
yeah.
ugh,
No, I mean. To be fair, that is exactly what people are arguing about at the start of the stream, and there are definite like perks and drawbacks to this approach.
I guess my question about React is there a way to do it in React that is less like I guess that would essentially it'd be like building your own directive, right? Like so that you could modify the markup with like a little attribute or something like, or is this really the way to do it? Like there's not like.
This is usually the way to do it. There are other approaches to conditional rendering. Usually if you have a situation where like it's something more complex than just like check if the name equals this string. I would pull this out into a function that I would define. So like inside.
Can you show me what that would look like? Because like you put that into a function and then call that function in the Okay.
So yeah, let's write one. So right under where you've assigned your name variable, let's write a function that checks to see whether the name is Nikolay.
Do you use some kind of special highlighting so that you can easily grok these files and know like what's being printed, or is like this what you look at? Like this is how it looks when you're, because like to me, I'm like, where am I? What am I doing? Because there's just so much happening.
Everything in the return statement is what's being like printed. That's what's going to show up on your screen. And again, it's one of those, like, if you really hate the idea of like just writing a bunch of JavaScript willy-nilly in here, I would do this method of defining functions here in your component, or defining functions elsewhere, importing them into your component, and then using them.
But there's not some super secret React reader that other people are using to like parse their files and make it look fancy or something. Like this is what it looks like for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, unless maybe there's one I don't know about. This is what it looks like to me.
Okay, yes, on with the function. Sorry, everybody.
All the firing shots. Absolutely. That's okay. Like,
I don't.
It's firing some shots, but you agree with it.
DSL soup. I don't. You're gonna have to be a little bit better with your insults, Ed, if I'm gonna get them.
You could use a custom theme to show your JSX.
Oh, the JSX in different color. That would be really cool. I was just wondering if like hardcore React people, like if they have these special like themes, or if they just are used to like just kind of reading through it like this. So
I code everything in Notepad, so I don't know. I was a lot. I'm joking.
Oh my god, you totally had me.
You don't write all of your applications in Microsoft Word.
Yeah, Trailmix is saying you get used to reading it.
There's some good
nice. Oh, spooky theme. Oh,
see,
spooky theme.
I
know Halloween is over, but I'm still really into the spooky vibes, so I'm gonna have to go look that up.
Yes, in fact,
Ed is like not afraid to stir the pot. I'm just gonna put that out there.
I love especially that Ed is stirring the pot on your behalf. Like, not just he's stirring the pot, but he's making it your problem.
Yeah. Oh, okay. No, you got to show me this function bit, because it might make me like love React. Like it might.
It seems like a large hill to climb right now, but let's go ahead and write one. So let's just write a function. So like function check name, right? Yep, and then your brackets and your curly braces, just like a normal function. Perfect.
Did that come across in stream? I swear lightning just hit in my yard.
I do think I saw it. I thought it was just a lights thing, like the lights in your house.
Hey, so if I go down, it's because of the lightning.
A literal blaze of glory.
A literal Fire. Oh, sorry. I don't know why. It's just like really, it's not even raining, but it's like really loud thunder. So let me know if I need to mute. But okay, so we have a function.
I can't hear the thunder.
Oh,
so
okay,
we've got
good,
a function.
good. Okay.
Let's have it like, yeah, just for example's sake, let's like pass in the name so that we don't really need to do it in this situation, but if we in later, maybe we would, we'd say like, let's have it accept like user, right? In the function in your brackets. So passing, yep.
What do you
We'll call it like, let's just call it like user.
All right.
Yeah, and then in here, let's write an if statement. It says like if user is equal to Nikolay, then return welcome Nikolay.
Oh, we got rated.
Oh,
I mean, we haven't seen it yet, but Ed said we got rated, so I believe him. And yes, we do. We do. Trail Mix was asking if there's always this vibe between Ed and I. Yes.
Aw.
He's like a brother who you just must make fun of. We have
This is cute.
That was cute. Oh, hey Raiders, welcome.
Welcome.
I don't know who you're rating from, so let us know what stream you're coming in from.
What a mood.
Oh, thank you for the raid so much. We appreciate
Solidarity.
it. We are this is day 1 of a 3-day series called React 101, where Kathryn teaches Nikolay and I the amazingness of React. So right now she's showing us the voodoo power of putting, what would you call this? Like you said, it's like an if, like a...
Yeah, we are, right now we're talking about whether it is heresy or not to write JavaScript directly into your JSX. And we're talking about various ways to just, well, right now we're writing a function, and then we're going to call that in our JSX. And there has been much debate about the right way to do it and whether we should be doing it at all. But this is React and we're doing it. So now, where we previously had that conditional rendering inline, let's just replace it and call the function instead. So inside your curly braces, you'll just call check name, and we will pass in your name variable. And so now, instead of doing the if statement work there inline, we've moved it out to this function. And just by calling the function, because the function returns text, it will render that right into our app. So if you were to switch back over to the browser, it should look exactly the same as it did before. We've done the same thing in 2 different ways.
But it's not it's not wrapping anything now? Or was it ever wrapping something?
It was previously, yeah, you could... We could move this bottom curly brace up. So it could just be like, I was like brace, check name, brace. Because basically the braces are just like React for there's JavaScript in here. Like
oh right. Okay. So it's like check if the name and then wait, hang on. I got lost. So we're returning welcome Nikolay. See, this is the weird part, though, because it's like empty. We're not.
Well,
I guess empty? It's not. So it's plugging it in up there, but it doesn't need to wrap it. It just needs to call it. So then I just call it at the very bottom and ignore it down there. Like,
So we've defined a function and then we're calling it. And because the function includes a return statement, what's getting returned is put into those braces.
And it doesn't matter where they are. Like, it doesn't have to be.
No, I mean, I would put it in an HTML element.
No, so I'm saying it doesn't have to be like our P with name. That doesn't have to be inside of the brackets that are surrounding check name. See what I'm saying?
No, I don't. I'm sorry.
Okay. Like, I would assume that in order to print name to screen, it would need to be on line 18 in the middle of those brackets.
No, because that's
your chunk that knows about name. But you're
No,
saying
the
the
whole
whole
thing knows
file
about
knows
name.
about it.
Everything knows about name because we've defined it within the scope of app, our
Okay,
high level
right.
function.
So this will work.
This will work. So it'll render name in the p tag, the line 14 name. It'll just show the variable. On line 17, we pass that in. It's being words evaluated in that function, and then the function is returning something based on that variable.
Yeah, I was like saying name at line 5. Right. I guess I don't know. Can we make it self-calling and then we don't need to invoke it in our template? Like, I guess that the point of it being in the, I don't, why is there? Why are you there?
What are you doing?
What are you doing? Yeah. What?
I mean, I just picked some random examples. You probably would not need. This is pretty redundant code in terms of like where we're
So
defining
you don't
things.
like, in order to let the template know about it, you wouldn't need to do this, or like
I
we
mean,
could make it self.
What do you walk me through what you're suggesting?
Well,
defining.
Yeah, so like, or self-invoking. So like basically like have check name, like call itself, or I guess just right after on line 8, just be like check name, like call it on line 9. And then like, wouldn't that then also make the scope know about name because it's been defined and ran, and then we would get welcome Nikolay?
In this case, the point of the function check name is that it's returning a string. So we need to tell React where in the UI to show that string. So
I see. So it's not actually replacing, like it's going to print it on line 17. It's not replacing line 14.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. These are two separate things. So all of the code, like name and everything inside the p tag, is still going to exist, and then underneath it, it will say welcome.
Okay, I see. So even if we wanted to like have like welcome Nikolay as like some like a title or something of an image, we could like put it in the attribute or something and just okay.
Yep.
I gotcha.
Yeah. So a lot of times a more like practical when you use this is probably you'd have information in state that would be different from user to user, right? Or like, let's say we want to check and see if someone's logged in. We could check in our state and do a quick like, well, if logged in is true, or if the user is this type, render this. So the situation where we're like setting random variables with like hard data at the top, probably not something we would really do. And as this called out, a lot of times if you have like helper functions and stuff, those will be in a separate file you could import if you wanted, especially if that's something that you're using in multiple different components across your application. So really what we're talking about is this would be a space when you would manipulate the data from your state and return based on it.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Did that answer the question?
Yeah. For me, at least. Sorry, Nikolay, I just kind of took over. I just was like super curious on this point. Do you have any questions for her?
Not really. I think, I have a question. So this whole component app.js is a function.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Can it be a class or something?
Can be a class. Yeah. So there are two different ways.
And what's the difference? Which one is better?
So this is one of those things that's kind of ask two people, get three opinions. So never heard that one? Oh, I love getting to like introduce new phrases to folks. But yeah, so you can write them as classes. That's totally fine. It will totally work. Previously in React, for things to be, if you wanted to deal with state and you were doing state management, that had to be in a class. That's no longer the case now that hooks are a thing. Hooks allow functions to handle state in basically the same way. So there used to be a really sharp kind of delineation between functions and classes, and it kind of became it became almost like a shorthand for like smart versus presentational components would kind of get split that way, where like smart components or like functional components would be classes, and like components that were purely presentational would be functions. Now that you can have state anywhere all the time, no matter what, it really does just come down to a matter of preference and how you like to write code. Functions tend to have less boilerplate than classes, just in terms of the setup. You end up with like less lines of code total. Mm-hmm. So I feel like there's a slight preference I've seen for folks to lean towards functions. They're a little bit more straightforward and have a little less boilerplate. But if you want to write classes, you could write classes. Like, it will all work.
Do they have like is NPX or something your CLI, so you can like generate components like with a class, or like is that not a thing in React? You write it all from scratch?
There is a way to do it.
I just didn't know if there was like all these commands that you just like use, or how
Angular is super into that. I definitely feel like that was more of a thing when I was writing Angular. It was something that I never really got on board with because I just never, it wasn't the way I learned.
Yeah, that's funny. I know some like Ward Bell, like from the Angular community, he does not use the CLI commands, writes it all from scratch. Yeah. So no, I think, I don't think it necessarily means you're good or bad at something. It's just how you prefer.
No, I think it's 100% how you learned and who taught you. Like when I learned how to do like Git, how to like open, merge code and pull things down or whatever. I learned all of that in the command line, and now it's built into like every IDE. And people are like, "Why are you still doing that in terminal?" I'm like, it's just how I learned. And it's how I learned to commit stuff. Like,
yeah, no, that's funny. Spit out some coffee. Oh, chat's funny. React is surprisingly functional. I just didn't know if we could like quickly generate a component that was classy. Probably. Like a classy component. To just see the differences, because I would love to.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about where there's a quick example. I think I've got some in my Kendo demo. I think I just like slammed my hand into the mic. Sorry about that. There we go. There's a React CLI for component generation. Someone put that in the chat.
Ooh.
I have not used it.
Oh, someone give us the command. I guess we'd have to install it first.
Probably, but that wouldn't take 2 seconds.
Do it, Codeplex. Do it. Tell us what's the.
Tell us what you use.
Yeah. Tell us the React CLI command, and then we can go from there for Googling how to install it. But also, if you have like an example pulled up, Kathryn, we can just show that. I just wanted to see like the differences between the components.
I'm trying to pull one up real quick. I will share. Maybe if I can remember how to share. The share button. Who'd have thunk? Okay. No. I'll this up a little bit. So this is the Kendo demo that I use for Kendo React components. This is the LCARS menu system for those of you who have seen it. So we're inside my source folder. There's the styles. There's the app. These are the components that I separated out into folders. Let's see if I can remember which one has a class and which one has a function. This one's a function. I know I have one that's a class because I intentionally wrote some in weird ways.
You're getting guff for your red update button on your Chrome.
I don't want to talk about it. Oh, here's a class. I really am. Let me live. I'm sorry.
Oh god, that's funny.
Yeah, they turn red when you've ignored it for like weeks and weeks and weeks. It starts off like green and then it gets orange and then it turns red. And
oh my god, that's funny. I don't know if I've ever like. I think I just assumed that it was always red because when I finally see it, like It's just red.
I'm just straight up neglectful.
Oh, God. Okay.
Hashtag let me live.
So this is export class, databank extends component.
Right.
So this is a databank class component.
So, yep. So same, just instead of the export default function databank, the syntax is different. Export default class databank extends component being imported from React here. I've got some stuff, some things that I'm handling here. This is all stuff that's getting passed in. And then instead of the just return, we have a render and then return. So this is kind of here's where some of the this comes in that we talked about earlier. And why I was like, you end up using this more in classes. Because you're not just going up here, you're also going up to here. And then you need this.
Wait, go back up. So I'm confused because you had a render and then you also have a return. What's happening?
Yeah.
What?
That is how classes work. And that's, again, one of those differences and kind of why we were saying some people like functions because they're a little bit more streamlined and there's a little bit less like bulk. But yeah.
Did you use all classes on this project for your components? Okay.
No, this project is intentionally like kind of a mishmash. So like in some places I use classes and in some places I use functions. Some places I use hooks and in some places I use set state. I wanted to just like, look, it works with everything. No matter how you code React, you can use Kendo React. So I think literally every component in here is like a little bit different. It's a little bit like blah. But oh man. So yeah, and again, here's when someone else does class components, just like the syntax of function. It's 100% personal opinion at this case. Like React supports it no matter what you want to do. So it really just comes down to how do you like to code.
I think so. Codeplex, just for reference, Nikolay had given us it said that you can do it without installing, and you can just use npx to say generate React CLI component. Apparently, so that's really cool.
Yeah. Let's try it. See what happens.
Are we going to break?
Let's break it.
How do I specify where exactly in which folder the component will be generated? Or I just navigate to that folder and then I place npx generate. All right.
Yeah, another person who's switched. Take a lot of retraining the brain to do the change from class components. Yeah, and you don't have to if you don't want to. Like, I mean, maybe you shifted because like your team has standardized on something, but from a React standpoint, code however you like. As long as you and your teammates can read it, it's good code.
Do we always name the components with a capital letter?
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't really thought about that, but yes.
All right. Is it a Pascal case, or we use dash if the component name has 2 words?
Usually it's like a camel case. So.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Can you drag your terminal over, Nikolay?
Yeah. Let me share.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to work. No, if it's easily readable, readable.
Readable.
Other people can read it. They can fix it for you. It doesn't have to work. It just has to work enough for someone else to know what you're trying to do. I'm joking. Mostly. I'm half joking.
Here's a new component, and you're inside of just source.
I think the source folder.
Yeah.
So.
Did it run? Is it running? Is this it running?
Yeah, it should be. I pressed enter, so.
I was like, I don't know if this is the loading screen, or does it usually take this long? Is this a thing, Kathryn?
I don't know. I don't use the CLI.
I'm like, there's no way it takes this long to generate a
We're
component.
all in this together.
What?
Oh.
What's it saying? It's angry at you for your Node version?
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Oh. We can also not mess with it. We're probably close to wrapping up time.
Yeah, we are. We need to find someone to raid, actually. Chat, let us know if you've got any anyone you want, like you're interested in jumping over to. We the plan for the 3 days, today, tomorrow, and the next day, was to do an hour-long stream. So sometimes we might go over, but that's what we're trying to aim to hit. But come back tomorrow for state management, right? That's what we're...
Yeah, we'll talk about routing. We'll talk about state management. We were going to talk about routing today, but we had to talk about other stuff. So we'll tackle it tomorrow. Yeah. Should be a good time.
Oh, Codeplex is saying you'd run it from Project Root. Okay, cool.
This was fun. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, it was. Thanks for teaching me some React.
Definitely.
Oh,
see you guys hopefully tomorrow. Same time, same place.
Yeah.
Yeah, same time.
Yep.
Same time. We'll be here. All right. Have a wonderful afternoon, night, or morning, wherever you are.